Joe Karen called my mom a leech got sentenced to rehab service. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and betrayal that evening. My mother, Lynn, stood frozen on our front porch, her hands trembling as Karen's voice sliced through the quiet cul-de-sac like a serrated knife. "You're nothing but a leech, draining this neighborhood dry," Karen spat, her manicured nails jabbing the air, her face a mask of righteous fury. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Mom had spent decades turning our modest yard into a sanctuary, her hands calloused from planting roses, her evenings spent coaxing life from soil most would have given up on. She was 68, a retired nurse who'd fled Vietnam as a teenager, carrying nothing but hope and a stubborn will to survive. Our garden was her pride, a riot of color that drew butterflies and neighbors alike. But to Karen, the HOA president with a clipboard and a vendetta, it was an eyesore that violated her precious regulations. The trouble started 6 months ago when Karen moved into the corner house. She strutted through our sleepy Arizona suburb like she owned every blade of grass, her blonde bob as sharp as her tongue. The HOA, once a sleepy group that occasionally nagged about mailbox colors, became her personal fiefdom. She issued fines for untrimmed hedges, interrogated dog walkers, and once demanded a neighbor remove a birdhouse because it was too rustic. Mom's garden, with its wild mix of marigolds, lotus, and bamboo, was her favorite target. "Your jungle is lowering property values," Karen declared at the first HOA meeting Mom attended. Her voice dripped with disdain, as if Mom's flowers were a personal affront. Mom, ever polite, tried to explain that the plants were native, low maintenance, and drought-resistant, perfect for the desert. Karen just smirked, her pen scratching out a $200 fine for non-compliant landscaping. "I'm Tui. By the way, I'm 32, a graphic designer who moved back home last year to help Mom after her arthritis worsened. I'd seen Karens before, entitled types who thrived on control, but this one was a Category 5 hurricane. She didn't just want compliance, she wanted worship. And Mom, with her quiet dignity and accent that thickened when she was nervous, was an easy mark. The fines kept coming. $50 for a cluttered porch, Mom's ceramic frog planter. $100 for excessive vegetation, a jasmine vine that dared to creep over the fence. Each notice arrived on crisp HOA letterhead, Karen's signature looping like a noose. Mom paid them silently, her savings dwindling, her smile fading. I begged her to fight back, but she'd just pat my hand and say, "We don't make waves. Tui, it's not our way." Things escalated when Karen caught wind of Mom's weekly dinners for the neighborhood's elderly widows. Every Sunday, our backyard filled with laughter, the clink of teacups, and the smell of pho simmering on the stove. It was Mom's way of giving back, a nod to the community that had welcomed her as a refugee. Karen called it an unauthorized gathering and slapped us with a $500 fine for operating a public nuisance. That's when I started recording her visits on my phone, sensing we'd need proof of her tyranny. The twist came from an unexpected ally, Mr. Delgado, a grizzled retiree who lived across the street. He was a former union organizer, all gruff voice and no-nonsense demeanor, with a habit of muttering about petty dictators whenever Karen patrolled the block. One evening, as I helped Mom weed the garden, he shuffled over, his cane tapping the pavement. "You know she's got no legal leg to stand on." "Right," he said, squinting at the latest fine taped to our door. "HOA bylaws don't trump property rights. I've seen her kind before bullies crumble when you push back." Mr. Delgado's words lit a spark. I started digging into the HOA rules, cross-referencing them with state law. Turns out, Karen had been overstepping. Her fines were often baseless, her inspections borderline harassment. I shared my findings with Mom, who hesitated but finally agreed to stop paying. "No more. Tui," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I'm tired." Karen didn't take kindly to defiance. She started showing up unannounced, snapping photos of Mom's garden, muttering about legal action. Neighbors whispered about her rants at HOA meetings, where she called Mom a freeloader who didn't belong. The tension simmered, a pressure cooker waiting to explode, It boiled over on a sweltering August evening. I was in the kitchen, sketching a logo for a client, when I heard Karen's voice outside. "You think you can ignore me?" she shrieked. I grabbed my phone and hit record, stepping onto the porch just as Karen stormed into our backyard, her heels sinking into the soil. Mom was there, watering her roses, oblivious until Karen's shadow loomed. "Your leech of a mother is ruining this neighborhood," Karen yelled, loud enough for half the street to hear. Hiding behind her sob story while she trashes our standards, Mom flinched, the hose slipping from her hands, water pooling around her feet. I rushed forward, my heart pounding. But before I could speak, Karen grabbed a trellis Mom had spent weeks building, a delicate lattice woven with morning glories, and yanked it from the ground. It splintered with a sickening crack. Flowers crushed under her feet. "Stop," I shouted, my phone shaking in my hand. "You're on my property." Karen spun toward me, her eyes wild. "You're just as bad as her," she hissed. "You don't deserve to live here." Neighbors were gathering now, their murmurs a low hum. Mr. Delgado hobbled over, his cane raised like a scepter. "You're done, Karen," he growled. "This ends now." The fallout was swift. My video of Karen's tantrum went viral on the neighborhood's private X group, racking up shares and comments like, "She's unhinged and Lynn's garden is gorgeous and emboldened." I filed a formal complaint with the HOA board, attaching the video in a 20-page document detailing Karen's violations of state law. Mr. Delgado rallied other neighbors, and soon, a dozen of us were at the next meeting, demanding her removal. Karen didn't go quietly. She showed up in a tailored blazer, her voice dripping with faux sincerity as she claimed she was protecting the community. But the evidence was overwhelming. My video, screenshots of her threatening emails, and testimonies from neighbors who'd been bullied into silence. The board, sweating under the scrutiny, voted 6-1 to oust her as president. But the real justice came later. One of the widows from Mom's dinners, Mrs. Patel, was a retired lawyer with a knack for quiet vengeance. She'd been documenting Karen's behavior for months, including an incident where Karen had illegally entered another neighbor's yard to inspect their compost bin. Mrs. Patel filed a civil suit on Mom's behalf, citing harassment and property damage. The court didn't just side with us, it ordered Karen to pay $10,000 in damages and perform 200 hours of community service at a local rehab center for seniors, where she'd have to face the kind of people she dismissed as leeches. The day Karen started her service, I drove Mom to the center to volunteer, something she'd done for years. Karen was there, mopping floors, her face a mix of resentment and defeat. Mom, ever gracious, offered her a cup of tea during a break. Karen muttered a refusal and turned away, but I caught the flicker of shame in her eyes. The neighborhood felt lighter after that, like a storm had passed. Mom's garden bloomed brighter than ever, and the widow's dinners grew, now hosted on a rotating schedule across the block. Karen's reign was over, but her story lingers as a cautionary tale. Was she a villain, or just a woman lost in her own need for control? I lean toward the former, but I'm curious what you think. Did she deserve her comeuppance, or was there a better way to handle her? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand.